And we made it. Okay, this is Playing with Paper. Hi, everybody. We're going to be working on the Peacock journal. This is round 2. While you were in between the last one and this one, I actually went in and did a lot of the painting on the other side of the papers and filled them up. So now, and I've did a lot of the stamping already. If we see some that might need something when we put the journal together, I can always go back and restamp something. So I think right now what we need is to go in and do our stenciling. Why is that not? Does that look clear to you guys, or does that look blurry? Because to me it looks clear. Okay. All right, so if you've never done texture paste, it's a lot of fun. There's different brands. Like this is Nuvo brand. And I get these at the Scrapbook Expo. You can get them from Sparkle and Sprinkle online. They come in all different colors. So we're going to use some of that. Here's another brand that we're going to be using. And these are really glossy. And these are made by Viva. 3D Stimple. And look at those. Aren't those pretty? So we're going to be using those. Very glittery, girly. Somewhere in my stash, I managed to pick up some Heidi Swap. Silver, black, and rose bonbon. Now the black really looks kind of gray, but we're going to use some of those. Bria Reese has 2 different kinds of texture paste. This one is a glossy, and this one is a matte metallic. And then again, we've got all different colors, so we can kind of match our pages. That'll make it nice. Then we're also going to do some stenciling with Tim Holtz Ranger Distress and Distress Oxide. We'll do these last just for the simple reason as they are not only water reactive, they're liquid reactive. So we want to make sure that we've done everything that we're going to do to the page that's paint or paste or whatever before we add any of these. And I've got them in all different colors. And I'm curious, have you guys really played with the different ones? Do you see much of a difference? I'm really curious. Hi, Gwen. I haven't played a lot with these, but they had them on sale at Joann's, and you got free shipping. And craft stores for me is an hour and 20 minutes away. So when they did free shipping and had them on sale, I ordered them. We're also going to be doing, and you're going to need some palette knives. Now I like the metal ones for the simple fact, let me show you, I'm sure it's still got a plastic one. Yeah, here's a plastic one. These are like the consistency of, some of them can be like cookie dough, as thick as cookie dough, but definitely the consistency of peanut butter. So when you're trying to do something like that, you don't want a plastic one. Oh, thank you, Gwen. You don't want a plastic one because could you imagine doing peanut butter with a butter knife that just wiggles? Now, if you was just doing paint, that wouldn't be no big deal. But if you're doing texture paste, you really want a good metal one. So that's my preference. That's my tip of the day is don't use that. We're also going to do stenciling in there. And this is just, comes in the artist supply. They're at Hobby Lobby's where I get them. And I've got different ones. Let's grab another one here. I have a bunch of these that I got from Hobby Lobby, and these are nice and flexible. But here again, if you're doing a very thick texture paste, you want a stiff one that's not going to bend at all. This one is hard plastic down here and like a silicone base up here to be able to grip it. You don't want a bendy one. So we've got that. And we're also going to do some paints with our stencils. So I've got a couple of smaller brayers. And I also like to use some paint brushes with my stencils. And these are semi-stiff. I don't like the actual stencil brush because I feel like it leaves too much of a texture. And when I do texture paste, I don't want my paint to be textured also. So I use brushes. And these are just cheap ones from Walmart. We're going to do some painting in there. And I've got the foam brushes or the foam stamps that we're going to use to create some different looks. And I like these when you're doing a journal after you've done your regular stamping because they give more of an impact. Like we've already got fine detailed ones done in here, but I want maybe some great big in your face kind of a detail. Now the stencils that I picked out for this are more fine ones. They've got, some's got a lot of detail, some doesn't. And these are the stencils that we're going to use in this one. And none of them really have a theme going on with them. That one does, it's flowers. Most of them are just geometric shapes. And I think when you get this far along in your journal, that's what it really needs, is just geometric. We're going to add different peacocks. On the next video, we're going to start adding some peacocks to it. So right now we're just doing the foundation, laying the groundwork, and making it look pretty. So with that, let's get started. I don't know. Here, I'll do a quick flip through so you can see some of the different paint techniques that I did. I covered every single page. And you'll notice right there is another one. When I go to put this together, I'll make sure that those two suns or sunflowers, whatever they are separate from each other in a different signature. Some of these are upside down. But I just did some miscellaneous stamping and repainting the back, making them, that one's really bright. Some I did the sparkle sprays. So that's what we got. And this is going to Robin. This journal is Robin's journal. So I decorated a whole page with just her initial in different angles, different colors. I thought it was pretty. Gives a personalized touch. So the rest of these you'll see as we're going through. I don't know that we'll get them all done while I'm online, but if not, we can, I'll do them offline and you'll get to see them. Thank you, Gwen. So with that, let's get started. This one here makes me think of flowers. I'm going to set these aside because I don't want to necessarily get anything on it. This makes me think of flowers or something. Or something. Or something. And another thing I want to tell you is if you're using texture paste on your stencils or your palette knives, you want to make sure that you wash them or take a baby wipe and wipe them off quickly. Because if that stuff dries, it is a bugger to get off. And sometimes darn near impossible. So anyway, on with our show. We're going to do some of these. Maybe I'll do some right here. And a color that would go good with that. Need something. I don't think we want black necessarily. We're going to do Bria Reese matte metallic. Well, it says it's Mars black, but I wouldn't call it black. I'd call it gray. And this has got just a little bit of glittery to it. I don't know if that's going to show up online that it's got glitter in it or not. This is really stiff. And I don't know if you can see how hard I'm having to press. But you definitely wouldn't do this with a plastic knife. Now, when I do the stenciling, I just want to put it on there. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Am I in camera? Yeah, I am. You want to hold your stencil firmly so it doesn't move on you. And you're just putting it on over the stencil and put the excess right back into your jar. Now, drying time varies by brand to brand, and is it really thick or is it not quite so thick? But when I do these, I generally let them set overnight. That way I know that they're dry. And because they dry out so bad, I save my little thing and I put it right back on there. And then when we lift up, there is some texture there. And wipe off my little stencil. I don't clean my stencils when I paint, but when I do this type of work with the stencils, where I'm using the texture paste, I will clean the texture paste off, because if you don't clean it off, then it's going to make your stencil not lay flat. So I do clean those off. Now, got a dry rag. Here it is. Got water on my table. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see the texture or not, but it's raised up. So when it dries and you touch it, it'll have like a sandy feel to it. It'll be a rough texture. So we'll let that one dry and we'll go on to the next one. This is a pink one. Stripes are hard for me to work with. They just make me bonkers. Is it like that with anybody else? I mean, what are you supposed to do with stripes? I have not a clue. Let's add some flowers. Let's add some flowers in what color? What goes with red? Let's do some purple. Now this stencil, as you notice, doesn't have an edge around it. So you can, in theory, go all the way around your stencil and you're not going to have that harsh line. Whereas, like this one, the pattern stops before it gets to the edge. I like this stencil. I have no idea what brand it is, but I like it. So I'm just going to put some paint on here. And what I'm doing is pushing. I'm not pulling, because if I do, I'm going to get paint underneath my stencil, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to push that in there. And it's just a up and down movement. It's no angle to it. I'm just kind of pouncing it. And this will cover up them stripes. I'm like you, Gwen. I just don't like stripes. They just do nothing for me. So a journal is a good spot to put them. That way I can cover them up. I've even been known to, on the back side, because they're white, to jelly print them. That way I don't even have to deal with them. But they always seem to put lots of stripes in every paper pad. Stripes or plaids. There we go. And lift this up. There we go. We covered up a lot of that. Now, it's kind of like jelly print, and I've got a lot of paint on the back side of this. So let me move that to the side. And I don't want it to go to waste, so I'm going to put it on here. Use my brayer. And get that paint off that stencil. I don't clean my stencils, but I don't want any extra paint on them. And I don't want the paint to go to waste. So when I pull it off, I'll have a ghost image of that. Looks pretty cool. And I'll add that to my jelly plate pile. Okay. On with what color we want. See, here's a plaid. They always seem to put those goofy plaids in there. We've got this side. What can we do with this side? I think we need to do some stamping. And I was doing a jelly plate one earlier, and I like the circles. This one is like really plain. So I think I'm going to add a bunch of different stuff to this one. So I'm going to get out a couple of these. These are silicone. And they're made with a, I don't know, a to-go lid. Like you get macaroni salad or something at the store. Something like that. From like Hy-Vee. And then these are just silicone. And these were made to fit in here. There's actually poured in there. It makes it really nice because nothing sticks to silicone. So when you're doing paint work or texture paste or anything like that, silicone is the best way to go. So I'm going to put, what do I want to put in there? Let's see how thick this is. Actually, I think that I could probably just work right out of the container on this. It's not real bad thick. Here I go with circles again. I just love circles. Can anybody tell? And I'm just kind of getting the bottom of this. Now this is texture paste, so whatever impression that I leave, it's not going to level out. It's not going to go flat. It'll still be there after it dries, which is really cool. I like that. I'm not sure what she's going to do with this journal. Thank you, Gwen. Whether she's going to write in it or she's going to use it for like ticket stubs and things like that. Saving memories. I think that's enough of that one. Well, maybe just one more. I love my circles. This one, I think I'm going to have it going off the page. Maybe one there. And having one. I need another piece of paper over there. Catch my mess. Have that one going off the page. Maybe have one here going off the page. Okay. Now, wipe this extra off so I can use my little doohickey again. This came from K-Cup Coffee. You use Keurig coffee. If you tear those little things apart, they have some really neat stuff in there. Can you tell I'm a recycler or upcycler or whatever it's called? I tear things apart, see what's inside that I can type and use. But this is what was inside. They had the little coffee filter and then coffee in it. Starbucks ones, in the bottom of theirs, they have these. And I use these a lot. What I use these for, let me close this up, is when I'm doing painting, pictures, any kind of oopy goopy, and I don't want it to lay flat. I want air to circulate underneath of it so it'll dry faster. I will set these underneath my paper. And see, that leaves a space right there. Never really found a use for these unless it was this, because there really aren't many things you could do with it. I suppose you could. I did the acrylic pours. If I had enough of these, I could have put them underneath my canvases, and that would have kept the air to be able to get underneath of it. Never thought about that. That is a pretty blue. That was, what did I say it was? Did I even tell you? Ultramarine blue. And it's by Bria Reese. Let's see. Let's do this one. This one is Ocean Green. So we'll pick on this one. We're just going to add embellishments. Different designs all the way through it. Whoops, I stuck that in there. I didn't mean to. This one is from Scotch Tape. It's got 2 circles, which I thought was really cool. So let me stir this one up because I've got it all going to one side. Now see, this one is the consistency of peanut butter. This one isn't a metallic. It's just a regular one. So that one will be really easy to work with. It just depends on what's in them. Wipe off my palette knife. That's really important. Can't stress that enough. Because it will dry like cement. Let's see how that looks before I actually, there we go. That is cool. I like that. Wonder if that fit inside. That is so cool. I like that. Hi, Robin. Working on your journal. You get to see it. I'm so glad that you found that stuff. I was really worried. And Julia is supposed to come out with new colors. If you guys haven't tried or heard about Enamelit, go to enamelit.com. They've got some really cool, fun things you can do with Enamelit, which at first thought, when you think about it and you watch it, you think that it's kind of like, what would you say, Robin? Kind of like, embossing powder, but not. But that's what it makes you think of. I'll take off my glasses and I'll show you what Julia did to my glasses. I'm so tickled. Forget that they're dirty. But see how my glasses were if the color shows up, they're a light lavender. But the finish was coming off on the inside. And it was bare metal and it was breaking me out where my glasses touched my face. So what she did is she sat down with Enamelit and put Enamelit on there. And it's exactly what it is. It's enamel. It's a powdery enamel. You don't use a heat gun. You use a, help me out, Robin. What's it called? Hot plate. It's a hot plate. You don't use embossing powders. Thank you, Robin. I got tongue twisted. Couldn't think of what it was. But you don't use a heat gun. You use a hot plate. And you don't use ink to get it to stick. It's just, I can't even describe. And I'm probably giving it a real hatchet job. But it is the coolest stuff since sliced bread. You got to try it. Go look at her website. Enamelit.com. And they actually have an Enamelit face scrub. And the gal lives right down the road from me. And she does amazing stuff with it. It is a lot of fun. And so Robin has a kit. Yes, right, Robin. One without the coils. You want a flat hot plate. And so Robin got a kit, and she has been waiting to try it. And Julie has been teasing that there's a new, not necessarily a color, it's a new version of it. So I'm excited to see what it is. All right, so we got those circles in there. Let's do my squeaky chair. This one is magenta. This will be her circle page. That is a pretty color. All right, so we did that one, we did that one. Let's do this one. And we'll try it out over here and make sure that it works. And you know I'm totally keeping my white page over here, my test page. Totally keeping it to do something else with. So that one, we'll just twist it. Here we go. I wonder if it'll fit in the middle of one of these. Awesome. So we're going to do some of these circles. Oops, that one got messed up. It was like a drunk circle. And there is glimmer mist behind there, kind of a peachy color. This red is so prominent that I think that is all I'm going to do with that red. So ignore that banging noise. I bet that sounded really nice on your end. Bam, 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 bam. You finished your mermaid journal, Robin. I got to see this. I got to see it. I want to see it. I want to know what it looks like. You're just like way ahead of me here. All right, so let me get another baby wipe to wipe that up. All right. Now, let's see. Whoops. We've got that little one. Let's do this little one in a different color. Let's see. We've got gold and black. Let's do some gold. Where's the lid? There it is. Flip what book, Robin? What book was you wanting flipped? We need to get Gwen going on these journals. I think she would have fun. I mean, who couldn't have fun doing these journals? Yep, that works out pretty good. We're just going to do some gold. Let's have a couple of them going off the page. It is fun, and you can put different themes in it. I mean, you like fairies. I don't have... Well, I take that back. On my trip down to Louisiana, I did pick up some fairies, a fairy package. But I don't have a big stash of fairies to be able to do a journal with. I just have a paper pad. But it would be cool to do a fairy one. Okay. So I think we're going to call that done. We don't want to make it too busy because we might want to do something else to it. So that one's done. Let me wipe this off, because we don't want to waste nothing. And let me clean my expensive little tool here. You got the big pad of paper, fairy paper. I just got the little bitty one, 8 by 8, I think is what it was. You got all the stickers. Your journal is going to be beautiful. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be gorgeous because you have a lot of stamps and you have a lot of elements to go in it. Okay, so we're going to call that one done. Another page done. This one, what are we going to do with this one? Let's see, let's see. Yes, you have lots of fairies. If Gwen ever went to go do a book, fairies has been her thing forever. Absolutely, as long as I've known her. She's got all of us whipped on fairies, I'm sure. I'm sure she's got some beautiful ones. All right, so we have a sun. Now, when you put these in the journal, even though these two pages are alike, they won't be next to each other. For instance, to get people's mind wrapped around it, and obviously I wouldn't put a bright pink one next to this, but you're going to have two complete different pages up next to each other. So that's what I said. When we go to put the book together, we'll probably do some additional stamping to get the pages to be cohesive with each other. Yes, Gwen, you have a few. Literally a few. Big few. I would love to see one of your fairy journals if you did one. I like fairies. I just can't find them in my area. So anyway, back to this one. This would be the color of fairies. But we're doing peacocks. Peacocks. So let's, what do I want to put in this one? I think I want to put some green leaves because I see little spots of green. So I think I want to do some green leaves, maybe. And it just looks kind of dull. So I think I want to do an unusual green, not just a plain green. Because there's nothing plain. I like color. So I want to do like that one, or do I want to do that one? I think this would blend more. Oh, geez, decisions. I think I'll do that one because I think it'll blend more. Really want to do the really bright one. Will this fit in there? Yes, ma'am. And it is one that is not open. Or, you know what? I changed my mind. We're not going to use this one. I think the page needs a metallic look. So, I have a Folk Art metallic paint that I think would be prettier. So I'm just going to put a little bit in there. I'm going to use my stamp to wiggle it around. And let's see. Make sure that I've got my whole stamp covered. And I do. Oops, not the bottom there. And I think I just want them coming off the corners. How pretty is that? I like that. And I have another one coming off of this corner. There we go. Of course, you're not going to see those corners, are you? So I'll put one here. Sometimes I even forget that it's not going to be on the same facing page. That would be cute, but it's not. So let me move them. And I will put one on this corner. There we go. Because when we put the journal together, don't forget, we're only going to be seeing that much of that page. That is pretty cool. And I'm going to call that one done. Because we got to leave room for Miss Robin to do some writing in it or whatever she's going to do with it. And then I'm going to stamp off what's left. Because I don't like things going to waste. I'll use this later in whatever. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And actually, that's still got some orange that I was doing a video earlier with Gwen. It had some, I don't remember using it, but we must have. Some orange paint. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So I'll set that to the side. And I'll wipe this out. I love silicone. So easy to work with. Absolutely love it. Makes a good paint palette. All right, so our next one is flowers. This definitely needs something. Definitely needs something. Let's see. We've got a lot of stripy things going on. Should we make it busy with some dots? If I could center that where it bends. Here we go. Let's try, we haven't tried any of the Nuvo. That might clash real bad. We do have some purple in there. We could make some purple dots. There we go. And some orange dots. Looks like there's some pink in there. Maybe not the orange. We'll do the purple and the pink. I was really disappointed. I opened one of these earlier. This is, most of it is just white cardstock that I get at Walmart. Sorry, Gwen, I didn't see you. Now, like this one here is watercolor paper. So it's a lot thicker. The weight of it is different. But most of my journals are made with, as we get further down, most of it is made with white cardstock. I do add in dictionary pages. Occasionally there's the pattern paper in there. What else do I add in? When I go a little further, there'll be some tea dye paper in some of these somewhere. I don't see it right off the bat. But I'll add some tea dye paper. Occasionally I'll add some copy paper. It just, whatever hits me. But the majority of it is just white cardstock. It's cheap, it's economical, and you're going to paint on it. So what the heck? You don't want to use like all watercolor paper because it's very thick. And a signature is when you take, I don't know, maybe 10 of these pages. This is what a signature is. There's 10 pages of paper here. And you're going to fold them in half. And that gives you, when you add the actual pages up, now you've doubled it to 10 papers. But this is what a signature is. It's a group of paper inside the book. And I don't know how many she picked out here. Oh, I don't know that they'll all fit. But she picked these out. Because if I used all of these, we're talking a very thick, thick book. So I may just use some of them and then just send her what I didn't use so she can make her own different journals out of. Normally you stick 4 to 5 signatures, and your signatures usually have 5 to 10 papers depending on the thickness. And that's what you're going to make that out of. So when I get all done decorating all the papers, I'll go back through and pick out the ones that I think would be appropriate for... Oh, Finley. I'll pick out the ones that you'll have to tell her I said hello, and those are my shoes. I want her Mickey Mouse shoes. But I'll pick out the ones that I think is appropriate for the Peacock journal. Now, this is the consistency. The Nuvo makes you think of smashed lipstick. It's kind of waxy contact to it. But it's very buttery, like lipstick. That's what it makes me think of. And so I'm just smoothing it on, and then I want to carefully run my knife back over. I don't want to dig into the holes because then I'm going to dig my stuff back out. So you don't want to be real rough with it, but you do want to kind of go over it to smooth it out. There we go. And I'm going to add some pink on this side of the page. Just in a few spots here and there. You are... I don't know what you're saying, Robin. What are you saying? And this is why you wear old clothes when you do this. I got old clothes and pajama bottoms on. Because accidents will happen. And I think when I dropped it, I got paint underneath there. Trying to catch that. What a bummer. All right, so there's some of that one. And then let's add the purple. Anyway, I was so disappointed. I opened up a blue one of these. I had only used it once, so there's no reason. And I always put the little foil back on it. Got them the same time as the rest of them. And it's completely dried out. I was really bummed. And this is the purple. I'm just going to add a little bit of purple up here. And this one is really metallic. When I get done and I pull the stencil off, you'll have to see this. I don't want to contaminate my pink if I can help it. Ah, I did on that one. Not a perfect science here. And let's do this one down here in purple. And let's make a few purple down here in the corner. I don't want to cover up the whole thing because then there's no room to do any journaling or writing something down. When I do texture paste with stamping, it doesn't matter because you can write over it. I keep digging in there. Getting rough with it. There we go. I love the purple. Purple and teal are my favorite colors. Pull this off. Now what's nice about the Nuvo is I should be able to go and scrape that right back off. And then if I can get to it before it completely dries, then I saved my little circles. Okay. Can you see the metallic? Does that show up? The shimmer to it? It may not. All right, put that one to the side and start another one. Of course, we got to clean the stencil because I don't want that stuff to waste and I don't want it to ruin my stencils. Did I clean that palette knife? Yes, I did. Okay. Get a fresh piece of paper so I can see. And you really go through a lot of baby wipes when you're doing these stencils. When you're doing the texture. Because you don't want any of that to be on your... And that's a drawback. A lot of people don't use it because it's constant. You're cleaning, you're cleaning, you're cleaning. It takes away from the craft time. But I'm one of those, I enjoy the journey and the process. I'm not rushing to get to that final end. I want to have fun going along the way, and I don't mind. All right. So now, I think I might need some more typing paper down here, copy paper. You know you're showing your age when you call this typing paper. I've said typing paper to my grandkids, and they look at me funny like, what in the world? Oh, you mean copy paper? Yeah, we don't type. Alrighty, so on this one, let me get a drink. This is already watercolored, so we're going to use some of the distress oxides. And I just want a little corner up here. And that is blue. So I wonder, here I go with the bright colors. I like the bright colors. I really, really do. This one is called Twisted Citron. And I'm just gonna see if I can push it in there. No, I can't. Well, that's a bummer. On the other ones, you could. So I tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. Because it is a distress oxide, we're going to do that. We're going to grab the old water sprayer. As soon as I figure out what I did with it. There it is. This is one of the good things about this. Is you can make it really reactive by adding water. We're just going to flip it over. Lay it down. Brayer over it. We don't care that some of it might all of a sudden decide that it wants to go in that design, because wait till you see this. Voila! We have a corner. Love it. Because it's still wet, we can actually close it, press it down. Now we've got a little bit on the other side. Now there's some still left on here. What is really cool about these is if I was to take a, let me take my brush and really scrub that purple out. What is cool about the Distress Oxide? If you haven't played with them yet, Gwen, you need to. They're fun. Now this is all dried on here from when we just did that. Check this out. And that's just plain water. They're water reactive or liquid reactive. Oh, I still got red in there. Doggone it. Let me grab a clean brush. And you'll see how much actually still comes off even after it's dry. Look at that. Water reactive. The downside is you can't get your work wet because that no matter how dry it is, as soon as you add water, it reacts again. So it's got its pluses and its minuses, pros and cons. If you was to put it on a like a journal or something rather, you'd want to go back and seal it, because if it ever got any moisture on it, it would run. That's the con of it. Has pros, but that's the con of it, is that it's going to react even when you don't want it to. All right. Let's see. We have this journaling dictionary page. Let me look and see if there's a really cool word on here. Public schools publish pudding, puddle, pucker. Better be careful what I'm saying. The difference between the two. All right, let's jump over here so you can see this. Let's see if I've got some that's about the same color. Grab a sheet of cardstock instead of typing paper. Let's see, this one is Dusty Concord. We've got a purple and an orange. I don't know if that's about the same color. Nope, not even close. Well, I've got another one here. Still not close. I think that's as close as I'm gonna get. Green Peacock. All right, we'll do those two. I thought there would be a big, wow, look at the difference. And really, I'm not really seeing a whole big, huge difference in them. Me, myself, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of difference in them. But let's see, we'll put the Distress ink at the top. On both sides. That's the only thing that in what I do, and I'm sure other people are clicking their tongues going, oh yes, there is a difference. And maybe there is as far as you can see in what projects you do, but for what I do, I don't see a whole big difference. Now keep in mind, these aren't the same colors. I mean, they're different inks, don't get me wrong. You will notice that these aren't as, they don't show up as much as these. But what you can do is remove something. And by that I mean, we'll just pick on the same stamp or the same stencil. If I was to spray water on both of them and then grab my paper towels, see how much comes off of this one than that one? Did that work? Yeah, see, that didn't even work. I've seen people where they take a stencil and they lay it over the top. Maybe I took it off too soon. And it takes away the ink. I mean, this took away some ink, but not like they were showing online. But now maybe I just didn't get enough on there. All right, so now let's try. Pull the stencil off. I mean, they both took off. You can see where this took off some color. This took off quite a bit of color. These seem more reactive to water, but for what I do stamping or I do shading, which is probably what you're going to do with them. So really not a whole lot of difference. If you want consistent color, then you want the Distress. If you want a spotted color, then you want these. These, in my opinion, would be really cool if they were in the vintage photo twist. The vintage photo. What is the other one we use quite a bit of? Walnut stain to make things look distressed. But as far as the colored ones, honestly, I'm not real hip on them. When you stamp, let me grab a stamp. When you stamp, I just got in these really cool little girls and I haven't even stamped them yet. So we'll real quickly stamp that so you can see that. Will that fit? Yep. I got these from AliExpress.com. And I haven't even got to try them out. And I think I'll pick on this. I think I'll pick on this woman's setting. And you can see how they stamp. Man, when you get a new stamp, they just don't want to seem to let go that first time. And you feel like you're about ready to rip it. I've never ripped one. I should knock on wood somewhere. But holy cow. Phew. All right. So we'll put her on there. Let me grab a clean sheet and you can see how they stamp. And we'll just stick with the same colors because it's easier. All right, so we'll do the distress first. I probably should have ran an eraser across that first. Okay. Because it's a brand new stamp and it isn't wanting to collect the ink. This is a handy tip. I think that everybody should know this, but people who are just getting into stamping may not know this. Some of your clear stamps, when you put your ink on there and it looks like it's bubbling up instead of making a firm line. See how this is all spotty? You can take just a high polymer white eraser, and you can get this at Walmart, and gently rub it over your stamp. And when I stamp it, you'll see the difference. The ink will actually hold on a lot better, or should. Okay. So let me flip this over. I wish they made the same colors in both so you'd have a real comparison. Anyway, there's that one. And basically, this is what I would be doing with them. So it's really doesn't do me any good if it's one way or the other. There's that one. Just looks like ink to me. But I don't do any of the stuff that they do with these. I do buy glossy paper, glossy photo paper when I see it at the thrift store, because you can make a smear. And I'll show you a second on the back of this what a smear is. So you really can't tell any difference on them for what I do. A smear, we'll take the oxides first, is you go like that. And you can hardly see where I did that. This seems to be the biggest drive towards these, is you make a smear. Water it down. And then stick your paper in it. And that's what you end up with. I might be mistaken. I think you can do the same thing with these. Here's some of the distress. That was the oxides. There's the other distress. Yeah, see, it's bubbling up too. So you can do basically the same thing. See? A smear. So honestly, I'm the wrong person to ask what the difference is. For what I do, it's the same. Do I feel like I wasted my money buying them? No, not really. Because they came up with different colors. But I think basically they're the same to me. For what I do. All right. So we need something on this. Let's see. Get this stuff out of the way. Go back to our Peacock journal. All right. Let's see. What do I want to put on here? I don't know that I really want to put anything on here. I've already got it colored. I think it looks cool. It's already decorated with words. So I'm going to leave it alone. This, however, put your sunglasses on, folks. That is some bright stuff. And I'm not sure what will stick to this. These are, or was the neon, spit it out, neon oil sticks from Hobby Lobby. Oil pastels. That's what I was looking for. Oil pastels. So I think we need to tone it down. So let's do some black. That'll make it look like a stained glass. And so we've got this black, and this is a glossy dimension. So if we're going to do a stained glass, we want, good grief, we want to stop spilling things. That's what we want. We want to do a stencil. I want to do that one, but we've already done it once, but it's going to be a lot of pages. So maybe I will do that one. Yeah, I think I will. And I like to run my stuff off of the page. That way I don't have that harsh line. And I'm not going to go all the way to the edge on this side. Just going to be like peeking. This one is a glossy. It is sticky, sticky. Let's pick on a broader knife. I'm going to hold that down, and hopefully none goes underneath my stencil. Now, if I press too hard, I'll be pushing it underneath my stencil. And that's something you got to watch, is not to press it too hard. And this is the glossy, so it has about the consistency of margarine that's been in the refrigerator. But I think this will look like let's see what it looks like. I think it'll look really cool with this fluorescent background. Look at that. I love it. And that's a texture paste. So it's not going to level out. It'll be raised from the rest of the page. It'll be something you see, but you can also feel it. I think it's perfect. When this dries, I may go back through and try to match this so I could do the whole page in that. Maybe. We'll see. All right, so let me wipe this off. I really like how that turned out. I think that's gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I may not get all of this stuff off of here, but I just want to make sure there's no humps and bumps, because that will ruin your stencil. It won't work right if it's not level. And the cool thing about it is while you're wiping it off, you're actually putting it on the next page underneath. So you're creating some really cool painty papers. Painty papers is when you wipe off something and you got something underneath. When I was doing my jelly plates, when I was wiping my brayer off, those are called painty papers. So if anybody wants to do a swap with painty papers, this is what they're talking about. It's what you would normally just put your waste stuff on just to get this clean, or get a paintbrush clean, or your brayer clean. But some of the painty papers come out just gorgeous. I love to see other people's painty papers and do swaps for them. I think they're really beautiful. All righty. Our next page. This side needs something. Let me wipe off my hands because they're getting pretty icky. And I don't want to put something on a clean sheet of paper and mess it up. So let me wipe my little paws. All right, so on this one, what have we not picked on? For some reason, this one makes me think of bubbles. Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. So I'm wondering, there we go. If I caulk this off the page just right, I can do some bubbles. Let's stick with the same color. Let's do some of this Viva texture paste. And it is like really runny, and it is very glittery. Very, very glittery, but which will look really nice on this. Even though it's the same color, it'll look nice. Trust me. You gotta drink it. Now I try to keep over 75% of the pages in the Peacock colors. When I was planning, whoops, I slid. Put it back. Put it back. When I was planning out the pages, the base pages, I wanted to keep them in the same family as Peacock colors. So there's a lot of teals, a lot of blues. There's some golds in here, or there's gold texture paste, or gold paint, Whoops. I keep dragging it right back out. Now this texture paste has about the consistency of a craft paint. It's really super. You could use, honestly, you could use a plastic brush with it or a plastic palette knife with this. But that doesn't make it easier to work with necessarily, because as you can see, I keep pulling it out of the circles. If it was a stiffer texture paste, that wouldn't be happening. Okay, I think I got enough of them. But because this is so runny, I'm not going to scrape this off until I get it off my paper. So now there's some really cool bubbles. And this is really glittery. Yeah, you can see the glitter there, right there. You see the glitter in it. And I like that. I think that's cool, and I think we'll call that page good. So now I got to go back through and get the rest of this off of here. So I'm going to grab one of my painty papers and I'm going to scrape it off. And what goes through, I'm going to leave it on there and call it pretty. And keep adding to it and keep building that painty paper up. Okay. Really, really need to oil this chair. You can tell how much I'm wiggling around. It's a pretty painty paper. All right, so put that to the side, flip this over, and wipe, wipe, wipe. If I can find a clean spot on this or not. And that's the start of another painty paper. Oh my gosh, I did not know it's 11 o'clock. The day just got away from me. Terribly away from me. I was telling my husband about the jelly prints that I did. And I said, innocently enough, we were outside talking. Innocently enough, I said, yeah, I said, some of them didn't quite turn out right. And I said, I'm going to have to repress them. You know, you press them, jelly press, because you're pressing the paper in. And he looked at me just as serious as he could, which he can do that quite often and does it very well. It's hard to tell sometimes when he's joking. He looks at me and he says, honey, don't repress. Repressing things is bad for your health. And I busted out laughing. I thought that was so funny. It's like, you've been watching too much Dr. Phil. There we go. Got that nice and clean. Add that to my painting paper file. Well, folks, it's 11 o'clock at night, so I think I'm going to quit now. But I hope you learned a little bit about the texture paste. You learned about the distress things, even though this wasn't supposed to be about that. It's supposed to be about finishing this. We did do some of our journal pages, and I'll do some more, because the last thing you want to do is sit here and watch me just continually doing page after page. But with the next time, part 3, when we come back, we'll be able to embellish our pages with die cuts, stickers, beads, and it will be decorating the actual pages and completing them. And by then I'll have these gathered as to what order I want, how many I want in each signature, and try to match the two sides up. Thank you, Gwen. So we'll have them a little bit more together. I don't want you to sit here and watch me do 50 pages of the same thing over and over. I want you to learn a little bit, see what I'm going to do, and then you can come back and see what I've done. And that makes it more fun for you, because the next week when you come back, we'll be doing something different to our Peacock journal. And as always, check out my other videos and give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Subscribe. I think it's this way. Did I point the right way? Right there. Subscribe. And if you hit the little bell, it'll notify you when I get ready to do the next journal. So I hope that you enjoy this. And if you can leave a comment and tell me what you think of what I've done, and is there anything that you'd like to see in the Peacock journal? Something you want to see me work with in the Peacock journal, I can sure do that. Love suggestions. Like, share, and comment this video. Love yous all, and have a good night.